The Scorpions have got to be one of my favourite rock bands of all time, and strangely enough I've got very little footage of interview on tape. I remember distinctly doing an interview with Klaus and Herman on the Blackout tour, and you remember that was when Klaus made his comeback after his rather serious throat problems, not of course to mention Herman's high life problems. But we won't go into too fine a detail about that lot. Somehow that footage got lost somewhere down at the BBC, and that's years ago. It's a great pity actually, because it was a very, very memorable piece. So what I've done is, out of the rest of the stuff that I've got, I've chosen two little pieces. One is a piece I did with Matthias Jabs down at the Donington 1986 Rock Festival, when another band, Warlock, made their debut, you might remember. And I pieced that up with a dressing room piece at the Apollo Theatre in Manchester with Herman Rebel on the 7th of March 1989 on the Savage Amusement Tour. And the strange part about this is that out of all the footage that you hear or the stuff that you read in the press, I reckon that we've got virtually the entire Scorpions career within the next 20 minutes. So, without going on any more, let's get stuck into the two pieces. Starting off with Donington 1986, in one of the little shacks there, piecing it up with the Apollo at about 20 minutes to 9 on the 7th of March 1989.
Well, one of the bands at Donington are well used to doing outdoor festivals, of course, they're the Scorpions, and they're special guest artists, aren't they? Yes. Matthias, so actually you were at Nebworth last year, weren't you? With Deep Purple.
Right.
You enjoy that?
Oh, that was excellent. I remember it, being a very, very good show. The reception of the audience was incredible, and in spite of the rain, it was raining, pouring all day, but so it was a miserable environment basically. But the music and the people and the bands and everybody was in such a good mood, so it was a great show.
Yeah, good. And was it the year before you did the Day on the Green in California?
That was last year.
Oh, that was last year.
We played this between now and Nebworth, last summer basically.
Yeah, how many did you have there then?
People?
Yeah.
I think 65,000.
Of course, the Scorpions, you've made it big in America, haven't you?
Yes.
Now, probably, was it England that made the Scorpions in the first place, or would you say, or what?
I mean, England was one of the places where we always like to go to. Coming out of Germany, we always try to play in foreign countries and not to be limited by just playing in Germany. It wasn't so easy in the beginning, so England was the market where, every German tried to play in. Like playing in London was like, a big thing. But meanwhile, we played England like almost every other country so many times, and, our success has grown, and it's basically our success, I would say, is coming out of Hanover, because that's where we started.
Your last studio album, that was Love at First Sting, wasn't
Right.
it? I thought possibly the British sales were a little disappointing, weren't they?
That could be, yeah.
Yeah, about 35,000.
In England, it seems to be the same since years. We have we didn't find the right way to really progress. I mean,
but in America, it's done fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere else. You name it. South America, France, even Germany now.
Yeah.
For years we were like nothing in Germany. I mean, okay, we were still the most popular rock band, but in comparison to other countries, it was, not on the right level. But now we've reached a very high level there as well. And England is still, I don't know.
I love the double live album, though. I think that's great with some of the old classics on, of course. Well, you're covering stuff off Blackout, Love Drive, aren't you?
Yes. From every album since Love Drive, which is Love Drive, Animal Magnetism, Blackout, and Love at First Sting. And, basically it's a documentary of the show we played most of the time on our last tour, on this very long world tour. That's why it's called Worldwide Live, because we played really everywhere, for 13 months around the world.
I believe you're changing record company too.
Yeah, after the next record. So we will be at Polygram Worldwide.
So what about the new album? Have you laid down any tracks? Or
yes, we have the songs ready. We have all the songs ready. Maybe if we go, in the studio to record them right after these shows, we have, the pre-production done, we have the arrangement, most of the arrangements done. What we do now is we go in the studio and seriously record all that. But, sometimes you come up spontaneously with a new idea and then a new song comes up in the studio, But we have, more than enough for one album already, you know.
Great.
So no problem.
Have you written any of the stuff, or has Klaus and Rudy done most of it, or what?
Yes, most of the stuff is Rudolf and Klaus, you know, that's the Scorpions music, you know, that's...
And you're going to use the Dieter Dirk studios in Poolheim again?
Yes. Every time we record an album, here's a new studio, so now we record in Studio 3. Last time we were
It's incredible. He's never stopped altering that studio, has he? Never.
No. He goes like underground in this village, Stormo. Goes underground, you know, so maybe in the future we don't even have to walk in the streets anymore, you know. We go to any restaurant, we go underground, because it's all, he's like working on that.
Great. Matthias, it's been great seeing you as well. Looking forward to seeing you on stage. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Matthias at Donington in 1986. The Scorpions already having made it big, and I've no doubt Uli Roth possibly kicking himself. Having said that, I still respect and like Uli's style of music immensely, but that's by the by. So, to Herman at the Apollo on the 1989 Savage Amusement Tour. It's fabulous to welcome the Scorpions back to Manchester, their first visit since the Love at First Sting tour. And that was in the February of 1984, when he did a couple of sellout gigs at the Apollo. That was on the 5th and the 6th of February.
I can't remember actually the
I
date.
know. Yeah, nice to see you, Herman.
Well, nice to be back here.
Apparently the tour's going really well.
Extremely well, you know, we're
Yeah.
very happy about it. So far it's been our best tour, you know, everywhere we have sold out gigs, so we're happy.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for?
Absolutely. Of course, on that tour, I mean, that previous tour, the Love at First Sting tour, it took you right through until, what, about 12 months, was it? Or
Even
13
longer,
months?
15 months. Almost 15 months. And people keep asking, what are you doing? Why haven't you toured for so long here or there, you know? Most people forget we just tour all over the world, and therefore, you know, you can't concentrate on all countries at the same time.
Does it never tire you out, though, being continually on the road?
Of course it is, you know, we're pretty tired after this tour now, you know, because we've been doing this now for a year. So we look forward to the end of the tour so we can rest, get into writing new song material, and record the next album.
Yeah. Mind you, you can't complain about the last album. It was Savage Amusements, fantastic. It's
Thank you
really
very
good.
much, thank you very much.
Actually, you know, when I was talking with Matthias at Donington in 1986, he was very, very disappointed about the British sales of Love at First Sting. He said, I just don't understand why everywhere we seem to go, we just, in England, we just don't seem to sell as many albums as we used to. For instance, like the Blackout album and things like that. Is there any reason behind this, or what? What do you think?
Well, maybe that's a question I should ask you. Why is that?
Well, Catch-22.
Yeah, maybe.
Catch-22.
Maybe they have great tape recorders here.
Yeah. Nevertheless, it was a good gig, the Donington, though, wasn't it?
Yes, I love that
Yeah.
very much.
Working with Ozzy and Def Leppard back on the scene for.
Yeah, in fact, we had that was our Monsters of Rock tour, and England was the only country where we played as special guest. All the other countries in Europe was the other way around. Ozzy was our special guest. We played 2 shows in Germany, 1 show in Sweden, played 1 big show in Budapest, and played 2 big shows in Spain. You know, on the Monsters of Rock tour '86. So
Brilliant,
yeah,
brilliant,
it was
brilliant.
Very nice.
The big advantage with that is that you could really sort of get out and, without all the lights, all the fancy lights, etc., just get out and rock and roll,
Yeah,
like only the Scorpions can do.
That's what we did, you know, and I think a lot of people like or love us even for our live performance, you know, and we don't need the lights maybe as much as some other acts, you know, or the gimmicks or the monsters. We can really go out, you know, and count on ourselves.
Sure.
And we proved that in the summer many times on the Monsters of Rock tour in America, where we went out as special guest of Van Halen, and we had a great time there. It was 28
course.
stadiums.
Yeah.
It was amazing, really.
How was that tour? Was it?
It was fantastic, you know. It was really amazing. We seemed to follow the heat wave all over the country, but otherwise it was great fun because it was summertime. We played outside every day. It was good.
Yeah. So are you saying then that Van Halen were the headliners on that?
Yes.
Right.
Van Halen was the headliner, and after that tour, we went out and did another 3.5 months headline tour in America ourselves. And then we took 3 weeks off, and we've been in Europe now since the end of November, constantly touring.
It's truth. It's
So
truth.
2 more days, and then we finish in Birmingham.
What is your own personal feeling about, obviously, Sammy Hagar now fronts Van Halen? A great performer in his own right, fabulous performer, previously with Montrose, but also quite a few solo albums himself, like the Red album. I think is probably one of my favourite albums of all time. Does he fit in with Van Halen, or do you prefer to see David Lee Roth up there? What are your own personal feelings there?
I think, personally, that David Lee Roth was a better showman, but as a singer, I think that Sammy is much better voice, better range singing-wise, and I think musically he contributed a great deal to that band, because he's another guitar player. Now for the first time Eddie has a rhythm guitar player behind him if he wants. They can play solo together. Musically, definitely they progressed that way, As I said to you, the showmanship now is definitely not as strong as it was before with David.
So consequently, because the Scorpions won through.
Yeah, and we had actually quite an amazing reception. A lot of kids actually, after we were finished playing, left the stadium, and a lot of people told us, you blow them over. But I feel, that Van Halen is a great band, and musically, the way they are right now, they're very strong, They lost their front showman, which is a sad thing, but musically they definitely progressed.
Sure. It's been a long time since you've been at the Scorpions. Who did you actually replace? Was it Lothar, was it? Or
No, I replaced...
Wolfgang?
No, a drummer called Rudy Lenners. He was there before. My first album with the band was Taken by Force. And then we went to Japan and did an album there with Uli Ross in the band called Tokyo Tapes.
Ulrich was great, I thought.
And after that, Uli left, Matthias came in, and the first album with Matthias was Love at First Thing, and since that time the band has been the same.
Yeah, I think probably Ulrich was...
Love Drive, yeah, sorry.
Love Drive, yes, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right, Francis, yeah, of course. But that's when the Scorpions became more commercial, more acceptable. Ulrich was probably, in many ways, too much into maybe Jimi Hendrix a little bit.
That was a problem. At that time, the band had two directions. There was one direction which was Uli Roth into being Hendrix, into being a three-piece band, and the other side, they were the Scorpions. They wanted to play melodic hard rock, right? So we were always two directions, but from the day on Matthias joined the band, we were one unit, making one music.
One type of music, that's right. You've only got to listen to Virgin Killers, and you could see the definite difference, can't you?
The two sides there, immediately, no doubt.
Yeah. Was Francis with you, with the Scorpions?
Francis was with the band since '73.
Right. The original member was what? I suppose.
And Rudy formed the band after the war.
But he still shouted them down.
No, I think, don't mention the war, but I think, basically you can start counting Scorpions from 71 on, when they made the first album, Lonesome Grove, with Michael Schenker playing guitar on there. And then after Michael was nicked by UFO, and Uli Ross joined the band, and Francis was in the band, then 73, they made Flight to the Rainbow. After that, In Trance,
of course, yeah.
Virgin Killer, and then was Taken by Force after that.
Yeah, and then of course we come to basically the current lineup of the Scorpions.
Yeah,
Love Drive.
Since Love Drive, it's the same lineup.
And Klaus had, unfortunately, the Scorpions has not been without its hardships, because when Klaus lost his voice, that was pretty horrendous.
Well, we just waited till it was back again.
Yeah, and of course you had your high life.
Well, I always have high life. But that's what rock and roll is all about. You have to have high life, otherwise it becomes boring.
Sure. I notice, actually, it is noticeable, of course, when you look at the Worldwide Live album, right, that you don't actually play any of the old stuff off Virgin Killer and that, or In Trance.
That goes too far back. And I think, if we really would police all those old fans, we would be on stage every night for about 4 hours. And we could not tour for 1.5 years, playing 4 hours every night.
No.
And it's too energy consuming. So we figured, we go back to about Love Drive, and that's it, and then build up from there. Take from each album 2 or 3 songs.
Have there never been any fears of wrapping it up? Because you're so energetic. This almost sort of worries me, the way that you guys...
Well, this is like doing exercises every day, and the more you exercise, the better you become in form. Actually, we get out of form when we're not on tour, when we sit at home. Then we get out of form. When we're on tour, we create forms of our life. Sometimes when we play in America, and we play in the summertime, so we have time in the daytime to sit on the pool and get brown. People always ask us when we come back, I thought you've been on tour for 1 year. How come you look so brown and so healthy and so fit? And it keeps us fit and keeps us in good shape because people, every night you have a good reception, people love us, they want to hear us, and they talk to us, so therefore we're happy about it.
That's good, that's good. On your set now, the Worldwide Live album featured tracks from all of the previous 4 albums, well, like Love Drive, for instance, Can't Get Enough, and Holiday, Another Piece of the Meat, great number. And Loving You Every Sunday Morning. Do you still do these numbers on stage now?
No, we don't, you know. I mean, the only song we do from the Love Drive album is an instrumental called Coast to Coast.
Great number, yeah.
We still do that, you know. And then we go to the next album, we take 2 songs from Anima Magnetism. We play the Soon, Make It Real.
Make It Real, yeah.
And we do songs, of course, from Blackout. We do the title track Blackout, you know. We do songs from the Love at First Sting album, like Lucky Like a Hurricane, obviously Still Loving You, Bad Boys Running Wild, and then we do 5 songs from the new album.
Yeah, now then, what a great album too.
Thank you very
Brilliant.
much.
Produced yet again, of course, by Dieter.
Yeah.
Dieter, God, he must have, that studio must be so massive now.
It is.
Were the Scorpions the very first band to use Dieter Studios in Cologne?
No, he had some other bands before, but we were the first major band to become big in his studio. So when you go there, you know, I know every little corner in that studio because we've been there the last 10 years, really.
Yeah, sure, because I was over there actually in Dieter Studios when co-produced the Black and Blue album.
Yes.
You know, remember the Black and Blue?
Yeah,
which is quite a long time with Gat Rotenberg and people like that. Yeah, that's good fun too. You write most of the songs together with Rudolph and Klaus.
No, well, most of the songs are written by Klaus and Rudolph, you know. I write songs sometimes with Klaus. Like on this album, you know, we wrote one song together called Passion Rules the Game.
Sure.
But then there's other songs, you know, Klaus and Rudolph and myself, me and Klaus write the lyrics and Rudy writes the music. That's how it usually works.
Yeah. How do you go about writing? Do you write on the road because you've got such a busy touring schedule or what?
I personally collect lots of ideas on the road, and sometimes I have a lyric idea, I write it down on the road, and sometimes don't even have the music, just write the lyrics down. And then sometimes I just have an idea, just a hook line, and then when I come home or I have one melody in my head or one rhythm in my head, I put it down on tape, and after the tour is finished, finish the song at home. But I collect a lot of basic ideas on the road.
Great, because you had a solo album out as well.
Yeah, it's called Herman the German and Friends, which was a fun thing to do.
Yeah?
I did it over with John Dokken and Steve Merritt was on there and Charlie Hoon. A lot of them, Bobby Blotzer, you know, a lot of people, you know, I know from LA because at that time I lived in LA.
Sure.
It was an easy thing to do.
In fact, basically, you were one of the first people.
Black and Blue, actually, you know, the band you mentioned earlier, they're from LA too, aren't they?
Yes, they are, yeah. They're a nice bunch of lads. I don't know whether Gene hasn't just spoilt them with the last couple of albums. I like Nasty Nasty. I thought Gene Simmons did a great job on Nasty Nasty. Just the same as Gene has sort of contributed and helped out together with Andy Johns, the support band here tonight, House of Lords, old Greg Giuffria. He's done a great job, but I don't know whether he's not tried to make Black and Blue sound a little bit too much like Kiss. That's only my own personal feelings. I think we had everything going originally, you know.
Yeah.
There you go. So, consequently, you're on this massive tour at the moment. What type of numbers do you prefer playing on stage?
What kind of numbers?
Do you like the really fast, rocky numbers, or do you like doing numbers like Still Loving You and...
Well, I prefer actually exactly the show we play right now, because there are all the songs we picked together, and they are our favorite songs. That's the way you can play them for 1.5 years or for 1 year enthusiastically every night without losing the feeling for them. Because we picked those songs and they are our favorite Scorpion songs ourselves. That's why we made this show now. We said we want to play this song, this song, this song, this song, this song. All those songs are our favorite songs.
That's good. So there's quite a few other bands come out of Germany since of course the Scorpions gone. And quite a few new young bands too. I'm particularly very, very impressed with Bonfire.
Yeah.
I think that they did
They
the
follow
business.
definitely in our steps, you know, and some people even tell us they sound like us, you know. I haven't listened too much to them, but people tell me so.
Yeah, well, of course they use a few more keyboards.
Yeah.
Well, the Scorps, I mean, like, it's basically a guitar-based band.
Yes,
which is a hard rocking band. Yeah. What do you think of the thrash scene? Like bands like Metallica, Megadeth, thrash.
They remind me of the Scorpions about 13 years ago, when they were playing songs like Speedy's Coming and all that stuff, you know. That's what they remind me of, you know. But otherwise, you know, I miss the songs there. I can't follow the songs there.
No melody.
Yeah.
No construction.
I like songs with melody, you know, and that's missing there. But otherwise, I said, I remind me of the Scorpions in the early days, you know, when it was all speed. The speed is coming, you know.
Yeah. So where do you go after here? You're doing very, very well in England. You were saying just previously that, I mean, you sold every gig's a sellout and getting more enthusiasm. Where do you go after here?
Well, after the last show will be the NSC in Birmingham in 2 days from now, at the 8th of March. And after that, we take some time off to go back to our houses and write new material, get ready for the next album, you know. That's the plan. So we like to meet again in May, you know, play each other the songs, and then go and rehearse those songs. Once we rehearse them, go in the studio, record them. So hopefully everything can be done this year, and everything is finished by the end of the year. So in the beginning of 1990, we can be back on the road again.
Yeah, that would be great. So do you like it in the studio?
I'm not too crazy about the studio. I find the studio usually boring. I love to be on the road. It's much more entertaining and much more fun.
Great. And like meeting people as well, meeting some of the fans.
I mean, you see the fans, you're in contact with people, you have a direct response when you play on stage, you hear people clap, and you have a good atmosphere. It's like a big party every night. And the studio seems to become very dull after a while, you know. You sit there, see the four walls, see nobody for weeks sometimes. So I'm not too crazy about the studio.
Especially the Dirk studio, where of course you as the drummer is working in the big room.
Yes.
And Klaus working in the big room, and the other boys are working in booths. It seems a little bit plastic.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about studio work. So we're trying also to make the next studio album much faster than the Savage Amusement album.
Brilliant. Well, I love the Savage Amusement album. Actually,
Thank you very much.
I mean, you know, as I said actually to Matthias at Donington in '86, I loved the Love at First Sting album. So maybe the Scorp stuff comes over maybe for England a bit better live, and you know.
Well, as I said, you know, the next album, you know, maybe we put out a live album, huh?
yes.
Live in England.
Oh, that'd
Probably sell 1 million copies then, huh?
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
We'll be right.
Herman, it's lovely to see you over here again. Thank you very, very much indeed.
A pleasure.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.